morning. I have a question for you. Can you name a career that does not require any reading or writing? Think about it and shout out your answer if you have one. It's challenging, right? I have heard a gamut of answers. My personal favorite was when a college student shouted out, "A mime!" A mime? Really? That answer almost stumped me. I came back with, what about reviewing a contract or receiving payment for miming? Got him. Anytime I start a book event, I start off with that question because it has been an aha moment for many and a gentle reminder to others of the importance of reading proficiently. One day while driving, I saw an elementary school marquee that read, "Readers are leaders." That resonated with me, so much so that again, I'm always asking that question. Because readers truly are leaders. According to the Pew Research Center, the average American reads 4 books a year. Successful entrepreneurs read about 17. Billionaires read even more. One reader leader, Bill Gates, he reads about 50 books a year. That's 1 book a week. As an independent publisher and author, literature is my life, especially children's literature. You can imagine how enthralled I was when I would read books to my daughter when she was a baby and toddler. I read about princesses, adventures, and happy endings. One of my most memorable moments was when she looked up at me after I read Beauty and the Beast and said, "Mommy, we are like Belle because we love books." Her propensity for reading propelled her to skip 1st grade and successfully complete 2nd. As a 3rd grader, everything has changed, and my biggest competitor is YouTube. I used to catch her snuggled up reading one of her favorite books and laughing aloud. Now, I'm like the Secret Service, having to guard her iPad with my life until she completes her homework. My initial approach was to have her complete her homework and read for 30 minutes before rewarding her with screen time. After finishing her task, she would eagerly and immediately grab her iPad to search YouTube's vast repository of kids playing with slime, dolls, and Legos. Then I realized that she was speed reading to get to the reward. But more importantly, reading was no longer her reward. So I said to myself, YouTube and its young vloggers, they don't have to be my nemesis. In fact, they could be my inspiration. If kids can watch other kids play, they may also be excited to read books that are written by children. To test out my theory, I volunteered at my daughter's school and conducted a children's book writing workshop to all 100 3rd graders there. Are you ready to write your own book? Yeah! That's exactly how animated I am when I have a really good book idea, by the way. During this workshop, I provided each child with a blank book, crayons, and markers to bring a story to life, using what I taught them of elements of narrative writing, story structure, and grammar. After several very imaginative writing prompts, they had each authored and illustrated their very own short story. At the end of the session, they proudly turned in their bestsellers to me. I then spread out their books on the table and mixed in books from their school library and asked them to pick a book that they would be excited to read. When given the option to read their book, a book written by a third grade peer or a published author, what do you think happened? Out of 100 students, 98 selected the book that they wrote or a book written by their third grade peer. I must be onto something, I thought. And it turns out I was. According to the Pew Research Center study, The Day in the Life of Popular YouTube Channels, millions of children are intrigued by content created by other children. In early 2019, those researchers analyzed 43,000 YouTube channels. Each channel had 250,000 or more subscribers. They found that videos that both featured children and were aimed at kids were amongst the most popular videos on YouTube, averaging 4 times as many views as any other general audience video. Those numbers are quite impressive, right? Now, let's look at numbers that tell a different story. The story of the US literacy rates amongst students. 1 in 4 children in America grows up without learning how to read. Students who don't read proficiently by 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of school. The cost of being illiterate rings up a total of $1 trillion, and the global economy is footing the bill. I'm not going to recite any more platitudes of why early reading and writing are so beneficial. Rather, I want you to imagine yourself as a 3rd grader struggling to read. 5 days out of 7, sitting in a classroom, frustrated because the material in front of you can't understand, but yet you're being expected to learn what's being presented in front of you every single day. Then your best friend, also in the 3rd grade, comes up to you and say, "Look, I wrote this book. It's about us and the things that we like to do." Would you be a little bit more inspired, encouraged to dig deeper, to learn to read? Because the story would be about you. It would be relevant and interesting. As parents, caregivers, and educators, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are rearing up strong readers so that tomorrow they can be powerful leaders. Thank you.